Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Ready? Okay.
Prepared.
All right, welcome back to a special edition of First Reaction Fan Reaction. I am your host, Cailin Clothier, and with me is my co-host,
Dara Whitman.
Yay! Oh, and we have the cameras on. If you're only listening to this, we are also recording this. This is the first time we're recording an actual podcast, so this is very exciting.
Because you guys like to see our faces.
Apparently like our faces.
Yeah, because
I like my face too.
Thanks for the reactions doing so well.
Mm-hmm.
They've done well, I would say more well than we thought they would. And a lot of people are like, why don't you guys do more filming?
Yeah.
So we're like, okay.
All right, we'll just make it more work for us. It's fine. I'm not mad at all.
Look, we do it for you because
we love you.
We love you.
And we heavily rely on the opinions of others to keep our lives going. Anyway, so if you're wondering who this lovely person to the right of me, to your left, is, we have a special guest today. This is friend of the show, Adriana. How are you, Adriana?
I am doing all right.
Okay, good to know. And we have, if you're watching this, you can see this terribly rigged mic stand. We had to rig a mic stand.
The MacGyver mic stand.
I think it's beautiful. So that's just my opinion. All right. So I don't even think I said what we were talking about today. So what are we talking about?
Well, it's probably in the title.
If you clicked this video, if you downloaded this podcast, you probably know what it is we are actually talking about today. But if you're coming into this blindly, we are talking about a movie that just hit Netflix that is based off of a hit anime of the early or mid 2000s called Death Note. Now, if you're wondering how we are incorporating First Reaction Fan Reaction into this, I actually watched the first, the original series Death Note back in 2008. But Dara has never seen an anime in her life. She's been.
I've seen a couple. I saw Princess Mononoke.
I know what a Japanese cartoon is.
I've heard of Death Note.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I've heard of this. It's not like when I think I saw the trailer on YouTube for some reason.
Yeah.
Like as an ad maybe. So like I've heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
I heard about it. So
yeah.
That's all I got.
So Adriana, how do you play into all of this? Are you the first reaction? Are you a fan reaction? How much do you know about this Desu Noto?
So like I cosplayed in middle school. We went to a mall. We danced. There was a child behind us looking through us.
There was?
What did you guys cosplay? Who did you guys cosplay as?
I was near. You do not know who he is because he wasn't in the movie.
I
don't.
Yeah.
Taylor, who were you?
He's badass.
I was Misa Amane. Because this is one back when I used to have like really long blonde hair, so it was perfecto.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I take it that you were a fan of Death Note?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I think I was the one who got you into Death Note, but that's besides.
I remember that exact day.
So you guys
clear as day.
So you guys really like this?
Yeah, we were. This was back in our embarrassing middle school, early high school ages. Mm-hmm. So it's those times that you try to forget really hard. But Death Note was basically. This is really interesting. Death Note was the anime to get me into anime, like back into it, because I'd watched like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, growing up, but you don't really know how to get back into anime unless you're watching it on Toonami or anything that's on Cartoon Network. So by the time I reached like internet age, was on the internet, I was on the forums of some of my favorite American shows, and they were talking about anime they really liked. Death Note was kind of the big one, and that was kind of the first one that got me back into anime. So this is, so this is kind of a big thing for me.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do we just want to like give like our opinions of the movie? Or like a basic opinion, because I feel like from everything, I feel like our opinions are exactly the same, but for completely different reasons.
Okay. Yes. Okay. You want to go first?
Do you want to go?
Oh, want me to go first?
You let the fans go first, guys.
We let the fans go first. That's true, because we have the power.
Ultimate knowledge.
Yeah, you do. I'm getting it back soon. It's fine.
This is a really interesting question, though, because for me personally, I'm not sure how to feel about this movie. Because it was weird, because I kind of, it's not a good movie. this is very important. Like, this is not a good movie, but I kind of enjoyed parts of it. For partially because, like, just to get to seeing some of those characters in, come to life in a way, even though there has already been a live action adaptation in Japan, but seeing just how they interpret some things was, like, fun. Other parts were confusing, like, why would you do this instead of this? And other parts were just like, okay, all right, whatever. So it's not a good movie. But, like, it was fun for us to sit around and watch it together. So, what did you think, Adriana?
I enjoyed it, weirdly.
Okay.
There were parts of it that I liked.
Yeah.
But I think it works a lot better as its own standalone thing under the same name than it does as an adaptation.
Oh,
because
yeah.
standing next to the anime, it doesn't compare at all.
No.
And it's pretty shit. Like, as a movie, but, like, it's fun. It's like it's like junk food movie.
Yeah. It is. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, Dara?
Oh, okay. That's actually kind of different than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
This was so dumb. Like, I kind of agree with, like, your junk food thing. Like, it's kind of just like I guess it's kind of like a so bad it's good movie.
Yeah.
I feel like if that's the case, then I need it to be more drunk.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, like, obviously, like, if you guys, like, the stuff that you guys are probably going to, I thought, like, we were going to have similar opinions but, like, for different reasons. Because, like, you guys might not like something because of, like, oh, it's, like, not right like the anime and that stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I just didn't like it because, like, the logics of, like, this whole thing. And I'm just, like, I was, like, literally yelling at people because I'm, like, this doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. This movie made enough sense. And, like, there are bits I liked. Like, I thought, like, performance-wise, everybody did pretty well with what they were given, which wasn't really much.
Yeah.
I kind of like the Final Destination aspect to it. This
was a Final Destination aspect.
This movie was a lot gorier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought the gore was kind of funny, though.
Yeah.
It was really ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like, I liked all the acting did good. I did like Willem Dafoe. He kind of got boring after a while. Like, that whole Willem Dafoe demon guy.
Okay, yeah.
It kind of got a bit boring, but, like, Willem Dafoe's a great villain.
Yeah. So, that's kind of interesting to me, I think, because I guess it wasn't, I feel like we could follow it a lot easier, like Adriana and I, because we kind of already knew a lot of the rules going into it. We know the basic premise. And so I feel like they kind of skipped over a lot of stuff. Yeah. So I'm like, were some parts confusing?
No, I wouldn't say the plot was confusing. It was just kind of like the logic was confusing.
Okay, yes.
Not the logic of the book. I got the book.
Right.
Which is basically just like you write somebody's name and how they die. Mm-hmm. I didn't know the part you can actually like control somebody for like 2 days. I didn't know that part, but it made sense. Yeah. I got it.
Right.
And like that whole thing, like that part was confusing. But just like people's like choices didn't make sense. Also, technically, I guess like the one thing I would say about like the characters. Like, they're kind of sociopaths or psychopaths. I forget the difference.
Oh, yeah, they're all batshit insane.
Because, like, literally, like, if I had this power...
Yeah.
And, like, I ended up using it, like, once on, like, a criminal, I would never be able to, like, forgive myself. Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. That's, like, what they took away from, like, what the anime had.
Yeah.
But, like... We can get into that later.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that later.
These are just, like, and, like, his girlfriend, like, it's, like... First of all, okay, I have this... Who the fuck? Who the fuck names their child Light?
Well, okay, this is really, can I maybe do a side note here? They've been trying to make a Death Note movie for years, like probably since, oh gosh, before 2010, I think.
A long time.
With a Headmaster Zephron. So, with Zac Efron, they were originally, he was thought to be Light.
I would have loved that.
So the original script for this movie, the original screenplay for this movie, like years ago, and in it, Light's name wasn't Light; it was Luke.
That makes more sense.
Luke just translates to Light, but I think people were kind of pissed about it because it's like, oh, it's not the same name as the character from the original series.
Was his name Light?
His original, it was Light, like literally Light Yagami.
But guys, people, okay, people who like the anime, Light is not a normal, like, because this is like, it's an Americanized version, so just give people American names, like apparently they did with the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Her name's Mia.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
My voice just got.
It's fine.
I don't know why that it doesn't make me mad. I'm just kind of like, why? That's just like such like a hipster bullshit thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was I was kind of torn on that part too, because I'm like, okay, you're trying to stay faithful to the adaptation, then you keep his last name the same, but whatever. But at the same time, it doesn't really fit in the context of everything. So it was weird.
And then like also just like the fact that like, oh, we're just gonna like kill criminals, and I'm like, are you really okay with yourself?
Mm-hmm.
His girlfriend, I don't even know what's wrong with her. She is like psychopath.
She's crazy.
Oh my god,
bad shit, insane.
Like I know like why like he keeps like going back to her just because like you know you gotta stick your dick in something at some point. I don't know. There's no like literally like it's not that
gotta stick your dick in something. Putting it in a book would be kind of weird.
No, but it's like I get like the actors I think did fine with like their chemistry, but like there's literally like no reason like she doesn't get with him.
Yeah.
Until she finds out about this like Death Note book. Also, it's a book. It's not a note.
Right.
It's a book.
Right. I think that's like a translation kind of thing.
Okay.
Just like, because I think if you are a non-native English speaker and you're trying to name something with like another language, like you kind of get it, but like don't, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm trying to say there?
I think notebook.
Yeah.
So
that
like,
works.
Death book sounds stupid.
Yeah.
But like Death Note, it's kind of like
Death Note book.
Death Note book.
Yeah. Death Note. Yeah.
And you're making like notes inside of the book, kind of a thing.
And
it's
it sounds
not like
cool. It's one of those things that sounds cool because you're saying it in another language. Like, because sometimes if I say something like randomly in Spanish, like it could sound really cool, but I can also just saying like the cat is wearing pants. Like,
yeah, and I guess like something else, like I don't I didn't understand Mia's motivations at all. Like, why is she into this?
I don't know.
Besides, if she's a psychopath, fine. But, like, I'm just...
There's some solid plot holes in this movie.
Oh, yeah. So do we want to run through a synopsis of this movie real quick? Just kind of run through it and then talk about it as we go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. That thing that we do on this show. Called First Reaction, Fan Reaction. So this movie does not take place in Japan like the original series. It takes place in Seattle, Washington. So we kind of open up on this scene where it's like a very like stereotypical high school team. You have like the football team doing their football things. You got cheerleaders being sexy teenagers. I guess that's what they do. Who knows?
We watched Riverdale.
We watched Riverdale. It's true. I was like, I know. Watching this, I was like, are we watching Riverdale right now?
I wish.
Riverdale.
I so wish.
I know, right? And so, and then we have this character whose name is Light Turner. He's sitting off to the bleachers, and he is writing, not writing in a notebook. He's just writing notes and then handing them to kids who pay him money. So
to do their homework.
Yeah, he has his side job doing other kids' homework for them.
That's a good way to make money.
Yeah, it's a good way to make money. I mean,
you got the cheating thing. Mm-hmm. But like...
Yeah.
What kind of a lazy motherfucker can't do their homework?
Well, no, when you're a teenager, you gotta...
It's not a test. It's not like cheat sheet. It's just like, can you do my math problems for me?
If I could have paid somebody to do my math homework in high school, I may have.
You know what? I should have like paid people because like I knew like some kids who like in my math class and like they didn't do their homework, and I would just like they'd be like, "Can I just like copy your homework?" And I'd be like, "Sure."
Oh, you should charge for that.
I should have.
Definitely.
I should have. Yeah, but
should have charged for that.
I should have charged. Oh well, it was high school. I wasn't thinking because I was being polite. I'm just like, "Oh yeah, here. I don't care."
So as Light is sitting in the stands doing this thing, we see a notebook fall from the sky, which is actually a really great shot because it is literally the exact same shot from one of the opening scenes of the original series. So they kind of did that shot for shot, which is a cool callback. Mm-hmm. It's one of like the few things that they actually like directly take from the original. That is so anyway. So Light goes and picks up the notebook. And as he's going in, some bullies are messing around
with a nerd.
So Light steps up trying to defend, and also this one chick, we don't know who she is yet. Mm-hmm. She also is like being like, "Hey,"
and then they start beating her up. Which like, was it ever okay to beat up a girl in high school?
It's not okay.
Like it's never no, but like usually like you're a bully and like you seem cool, but like I've never seen like a cool bully.
I'm tired of all these feminist bullies who think it's okay to beat up a girl.
I mean, it's not okay to beat up anybody, but like if you think about it, like it's like you don't, if you see like somebody beat up a girl, you don't like, oh, that dude's so cool. It's like, you're like, you asshole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no
like,
one makes
why?
girls beating on girls.
That's
I
fine.
feel like if anyone's
True.
gonna
They do
beat
that.
on a girl.
Yeah.
it's gonna
I know.
be like,
I've seen enough Degrassi to know that. Also, I think
Can they catch these hands?
Also, like, it's probably something we should point out here. The sound mixing's a bit weird.
The sound mixing is very weird. Like the music at all points during this movie is overpowering the dialogue.
Yeah, 'cause, like, at first, like, we thought it was, like, the TV, and then you, like, changed it.
Yeah.
And it was so it sounded better, but it was so weird.
Mm-hmm. You know where it's also, like, super noticeable? That last scene where there's talking, but there's music with words, like, on top of it.
Yeah, you don't do that.
That's bad.
Like,
You don't do that.
Well, they need to sell the soundtrack.
They have to make money off this somehow. So after this kerfuffle, Light is in detention. He's doing his thing.
It's in detention for the homework, technically.
Yeah, for the
which is weird because like that's like a suspendable thing.
Right. He gets caught for cheating on his homework after a fight, even though he's like, "Hey, I got in a fight," and nobody cares, Light. So as he's sitting in detention alone, weird things start happening. Some kind of paranormal activity is going on here, and we get to meet the death god. That's how they translate it. In the original it's called Shinigami, which literally actually translates to death god. I know a lot of other series, when they translate to English, they do either Reaper or Soul Reaper. That's just your translation note of the day. Anyway, so we get to meet this. He's kind of cloaked in shadow.
I'm just gonna call him Willem Dafoe Demon.
Yeah, basically he is Ryuk, who is a death god played by Willem Dafoe. He introduces himself
Who is awesome, by the way.
I thought Ryuk was really fun here. I mean, I was really excited to see him.
Willem Dafoe is really good at playing a villain.
Yeah, I think Willem Dafoe really captures the character well.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Also, I want to point this out. Light, like after seeing this and seeing all like the stuff go down, has the proper reaction.
Screams a lot.
Screams like a motherfucker. And it's not just like a guy like he's like literally screaming his head off.
Yeah.
And trying to get out of there. And I'm like, good for you. You have the proper reaction.
Yeah, it's a very human reaction.
I would do that.
Yeah.
This creepy ass demon thing.
So, Ryuk, like, kind of says that, he's the one behind the notebook, and he's like, hey, dude, you should test this thing out. Kind of eggs him on to do it. And so Light's like, all right. And so he writes down the name of a bully, also writes down how he will die. And then he looks out the window and watches it happen. It's a very gory scene where this bully is decapitated.
It's a Final Destination scene.
It's a very Final Destination-esque scene.
Yeah, I forget how it is. Just like a bunch of people like going to that and like a ladder decapitates him.
Yeah.
It was gory.
It was very gory.
It was kind of funny. It was like funny gory though. Which I know like sounds bad for me, but it's just kind of like if it's like Final Destination.
It's over the top.
Have you ever seen? You've probably never seen. Final
I've seen scenes from Final Destination.
The deaths are actually kind of funny.
Yeah,
because of how ridiculous. They
I
are.
thought this. Yeah, this is very similar.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Whoa, man,
dude." Gnarly. So
which sorry, I keep interrupting, but like that's kind of fine. I guess like think of like a moral logic thing, like obviously like somebody like a demon comes to you and says like, hey, do this thing, you're gonna try it at least once. Anybody would. Get over it.
Don't blame me, the demon told me to.
That's gonna get you in an insane asylum immediately.
Better to plead insane than found guilty of murder.
Yo.
Yeah, and that's like my other thing, like, but there's no proof that Light did anything except for the Death Notebook. But that's like barely proof.
Yeah, he did run a lot.
Run.
Again, that's not proof.
Yeah,
I'm not a cop, but like I'm pretty sure like a book saying like this person and decapitation isn't proof,
right?
Especially like if you have witnesses who clearly like saw what happened. That's kind of one of the biggest problems with this movie.
Yeah. So speaking of cop, later in the movie, Light goes home and his dad is a cop, so we find out through some
teenage angst expedition.
Yes, yeah, it's questionably fluid dialogue that Light's mother was killed via car crash. I think there was like this guy and like he beat up his girlfriend near to death, and then I guess got into a car and hit his mom, and then she died. Yeah. Something like that. The man, hit and run. Hit and run. So, Light continues to test out the notebook by writing this guy's name. Yeah, because, like we know, like, they know who did it, but I guess, like, somehow we got away with it.
I don't know. I sound like I read something. Like I looked,
I think because he mentions that like somebody paid him to get out of jail or something. Like it was like a really shady under the hand deal.
Yeah, Light's acting like such a teenager, and his dad's actually making sense. Light's all like why can't you just like put him in jail and stuff? Like he killed my mom and like blah 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 blah. And the dad's like, that's not how the justice system works. And I'm like, I love how like I don't know, like it's kind of weird just like seeing like because like Nat Wolff kind of still looks like a teenager, even though I know he's like in his 20s.
Yeah, he's literally 2 days older than me. Why do I know that? I have no idea.
You're curious. Anyway, so it's just like, I guess like now being like in my 20s, I just can't deal with your teenage bullshit unless it's like ridiculous. Yeah. Which is ridiculous, but I couldn't.
Yeah. So we kind of find out some more rules of this Death Note, which is you have to have a name and a face. You have to think of the face as you're writing the name. And then you can also control what they're doing 48 hours after their die. And I don't think that rule was in the original. That was It definitely wasn't, because that would have been used to way more effect. I don't think so. If it was, it wasn't utilized like that. I don't even know what the extent
Also, there's
was.
like a 7-day rule. I don't know what that was. Like you cannot use the book for 7 days, and then the Willem Dafoe demon will just like take it away.
Yeah, I don't know. Ryuk had a lot more control over who had the book and what happened with it.
Yeah, definitely. So they kind of, I'm not sure if they change rules, but they do. I think they add some, or they focus more on rules. Because if you look at the, because you can buy some Death Notes. You can buy them offline, and they have like all the rules in them. They do have a lot of rules. Because remember, they used to, in the show, they had like between the commercial breaks, they would show different rules.
Yeah,
so
they would.
I just remember that. So either, I'm not sure if they added rules or they just decided to focus on different ones than they did in the other series. But we definitely have to focus on some different kinds of rules here. The 48-hour control one is definitely a big one. Is the one that they kind of use for the whole movie, and the whole burning of a page thing.
I don't remember that.
That was never used being before.
A thing. I know they can rip them out.
Yeah.
And you can still use the pages. Right. But I don't remember there being like, oh yeah, like erases like the name that you put in there if you like burn, like, nah.
Because it's the same thing as like a life eraser.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Question.
Yeah.
Can you destroy it?
I think so. No.
No. I don't know.
What about the scene where he sets the thing on fire?
I don't know.
Ryuk
said some questionable things in the beginning. Especially since he was like, oh yeah, it was like owned by someone else. And you're like,
yeah,
he died or something, which is a thing.
It was owned by somebody else, and that guy passed away. And I'm like, that's like a big red flag.
Yeah,
that like it's clear that like maybe this guy didn't want to do it anymore, and the Willem Dafoe demon just like murdered him.
I don't even remember how Shinigamis can die. I know they can, but I don't remember how.
Shinigamis, if they it's like if they do something, if they get too involved with the human or something. Oh, if they
is it something?
Like, if they like.
Is it a love thing?
Well, no, because because remember Rem used against to protect.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a
right. So and that's how she died like that.
Yeah, I remember how it looks when they.
Yeah. We're talking total code here. Sorry, Dara. We're just trying not to like just totally spoil things.
Here's the thing: I'm probably not gonna watch a sequel if there is one. Yeah, I ain't gonna watch it.
Oh hell, I'm gonna watch it.
We're
like if you
we'll get more alcohol and then we'll watch it.
Okay, how's that? I'll do that then.
Yeah.
I should have bought that $20 bottle of mead.
Ooh.
Back to this.
So anyway, Light's able to murder his mother's murderer, and then he goes into school next day, and then it's like in gym class, and then this chick.
Why is he not doing anything in gym class? I know this is
because he's a loner.
No, but like, you have to participate in gym class.
Maybe he's just not getting that participation grade. Maybe he's got like a 0 in gym class.
Well, then that's
ankle hurt.
His ankle hurt. Yeah, that's a fair point. But so then this chick who we saw, she was a cheerleader and she was defending from the bullies earlier, comes up and they're talking about the student who just died, and they're kind of bonding over the fact that guy was a douchebag even though he's dead. And later on, Light tries to impress her by he tries to show her Ryuk, but that doesn't work because apparently only the owner of the note can see the death god.
Is that a thing?
That's way different than the show.
Okay.
In this show, it's you have to touch the notebook. If you touch the notebook, then you can see it, which has some really interesting...
Yeah, it did a lot of cool things.
It did a lot of...
Like, you could do a lot with it, and it just kind of erased it from the...
Yeah, that had like a lot... That came into play a lot in the original and had some really cool scenes associated with it. But this one, just, I guess, to, you know, for the sake of time, if you're the owner of it, then you can see it. That's it.
Okay.
And so Light's able to demonstrate how the notebook works, and she gets really excited about that.
She gets like
a little too excited.
Look, she gets like super horny. Let's face it.
She's like really horny about the fact that
this kid just murdered a guy
with a piece of paper. Please evaluate your tastes. If you're into that, maybe don't. Maybe pick up a different.
I'm not sure if she's a sociopath or a psychopath because I forget the difference. If you're a therapist or like know this stuff, please like leave in the comments and tell me what the difference is, and if we like describe it, tell me what she is.
Yeah.
Because
please diagnose her for us. Thank you.
I would call my mom and ask her, but it's like 10:30. She's asleep.
Mother, I have a very important question.
What is the difference?
I need you to diagnose a fictional character.
We could technically just Google it, but I don't feel
like it.
Me either.
Why Google it when you can ask the people of the internet to do things for you?
So he writes on like, it's not just like, oh, this person died this way. It's like he said something specific about like this hostage situation.
To basically prove that he's the one who did it. So she's like super into this, and then they go back and they kind of
have sex.
Yeah, they have like a weird montage where they have sex and also murder people at the same time.
I'm into it.
And like they basically talk, and so they decide that they're gonna murder all of these criminals. Like
they technically decide to be gods.
Yeah, that's really, they have this whole kind of speech where they're like, oh, like we could be, you know, like choose who lives, who dies, like basically becoming gods. And then like picks the name of like what this kind of god would be, and that's Kira, which comes from, in the movie they associate it with, it's the word for light in a couple of different languages. It's also a kind of a butchered way the Japanese say the word killer, which is how in the original it's just like, oh, killer, Kira. So that's how they kind of, I keep hitting my mic, guys. And that's how they kind of tie those ends together. And so we get a nice montage with that. Hi, do you have a question? Yes.
I have a problem with this.
Okay. Yeah. Please share with the class.
This could like totally get you caught.
Okay.
Because like now you're like using a symbol, and like somebody could, I'm not sure how exactly you could trace it back to them, but you could. Why not? Like it'd be better to like not use your name and just like, I think like the smartest way to, if you have the smartest way to do it is just like put in a name like once in a while. And then just, like, have somebody die randomly. Because then you would never get caught. In any way. Nobody would ever find out.
Right.
And you would be getting rid of people. Like, bad people. Which is, like, I guess it's a bit noble. I'm like, okay, fine. And I get what, like, trying to do. But, like, he's not being smart about it. He just keeps doing it.
No, and it's kind of, he does it for the fame, kind of.
Yeah, he has a god complex.
I think it's a thing, like, he wanted to do the right thing, but then he got the god complex.
Yeah.
And then he wanted to become a god.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Man, we're getting deep, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
This movie's deep, man. Just kidding.
God,
no, it's not.
Deep.
No, it's not.
Like, it makes you think about life and death and stuff.
No, it's not. No.
So, yes, we have a hero with a god complex.
Hooray! This montage of that and sex, and they do have sex, right? There's like a point where like she takes her shirt off, but like you don't see any boobs. It's just like a bra.
Because I think because you're technically watching teenagers, and it's kind of a.
But they're both like 22.
It's implied. Sex isn't really needed to be on screen.
It's implied teenage
sex. Also, like,
you just need to know characters have sex.
Around? Like, does he not like hear his son having sex?
Oh, yo, he's gonna get a high five. He'd be like, yo, she's hot. She's a cheerleader. Fuck yeah.
Also, Also, you guys are bringing this up too. I didn't even think about it. What's a cheerleader hanging out with light?
This is such a good point
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
This is such a really good point because there's no connection from it because it's weird because I think the character of like this Mia character, like the way she acts seems like a very you know who I'm kind of reminded of? The character from The Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
The basket case character.
I forget her name. Ali Shee. I know it's Ali Shee, but I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
but,
my
like,
god, people are gonna kill us if we don't remember her name.
I know, well,
Was it Allison?
I think so, something like that. I really think it was.
I might want to Google that.
Yeah.
I won't Google psychopath versus sociopath, but I will Google the names of everybody in the Breakfast Club.
But yeah, but like that's who like I like this kind of this outsider character who's not the loner, but is kind of just a little crazy, and that's how she acted. But then you would be reminded that she's a cheerleader.
Also, did she have a boyfriend? Because it was like I thought it was her. Like Light's like staring at a girl, and I thought it was her. And this guy just like kind of like grabs her by the waist. Was that her or was that somebody else?
Oh, I forget.
It was probably her. I think he was pretty like into her in the beginning.
Yeah.
Which is a little weird. It's kind of a complete flip from Light's like original character.
Yeah.
Which kind of was a little annoying, but I would be like, nah, it's not the same thing.
I could
so it's
see
fine.
it as like it's basically like he went to defend her at a point. I could see her going up to him and being like, "Hey, thank you."
Yeah.
I could see that, and then just like something developing. But this is kind of like, "Oh, I'm going up. What do you think?" Or like even asking about the killing thing. But then it's kind of like she went up to him asking about like what he thought of this guy dying, whatever. Show her the death note. Instantly banging.
Yeah.
Not how that works.
It's really interesting too because there's a difference between like kind of forming that like that partnership of like thinking that you're doing like you're fighting crime and stuff, but then it's another thing to just like completely go from like completely different social circles to you.
Yeah.
Like
Also, at this point, like after like she gets together with Light, you never see her with other friends.
It's true.
She's always with Light.
Yeah, you don't even see her being like a cheerleader, and there's a point where she's like, "I'm a cheerleader," and I'm like, "Are you?"
Yeah.
We only saw you doing that in the opening scene.
Yeah.
It's really like it's weird. I feel like they like lost like her character. Like yeah,
Did she even really like her character was mainly that she's a crazy person who likes to kill people.
Basically,
that was her character.
Like yeah, I interpret it as like the popular girl with like a dark side. It's like, oh man, this is really a teen kind of movie, isn't it?
She's very one-dimensional.
Then I was thinking about Riverdale again, and
I think most of the characters are one-dimensional.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I think maybe like the least one-dimensional is kind of Light, and I like Nat Wolff in this movie.
Yeah,
I thought it was good.
Okay.
He wasn't given much to work with.
Yeah,
like at all.
I see that.
And his hair kind of annoyed me.
Yeah. What was with his hair?
He like dyed it blonde, but it was like clear that he was a dye job.
Yeah, but it was like the frosted tips. It wasn't even like the whole thing.
No, teenagers are into that,
Yeah.
You're detached.
Are they? I thought that was like the 90s. Like with the frosted tips.
And ramen hair.
The ramen hair. It's gonna be May. Are you looking up the Breakfast Club character?
No, I'm looking up psychopath versus sociopath. I got curious.
Pretty sure one's more charming than the other. I know me a couple sociopaths.
No, but like if you think about it, she sounds like more of a sociopath because like she can clearly like
you know who you are.
I feel like she feels something.
Yeah.
But like, and like I think she does care about Light, so she can feel stuff, and she can like she's like attaching herself to him.
I don't understand what her motivation is.
Me neither.
Yeah.
She's no motivation.
Because I don't know if she cares about what he was doing to begin with, or if she's just kind of like, we have to kill everybody that's in our way because we're a god now.
Yeah.
Because he was definitely more
she was the one with more of the god complex. Is that kind of what we're getting at here?
Yeah, because she was basically let's kill everybody in our way. He was like let's kill criminals.
Okay. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah.
It was his idea though.
What's his idea?
It was his
strange.
idea to kill criminals, not people in his way. Like
it was his idea to be Kira.
True. I think he had it and then he kind of lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, this is going to be really cool. And then she was like, let's kill everybody.
Yeah, you know what's a cool idea? Murder.
It's fun. Do-do-do.
Do it with your friends.
You know.
Oh, wait, can we talk about the dumb detective guy?
Yeah. Oh.
Which dumb... the
The
dumb...
dumb detective guy.
Yeah, this is actually real. Yeah, we are pretty far into this, and we haven't even talked about
Like this,
one
like
of like the
literally
most
like
quintessential characters.
Like literally
of
like
the, whole
the
thing.
beginning with like the Death Note and like the montage stuff that felt like a pilot.
Yeah,
And then there's like the rest of the movie. This movie felt really long.
but it wasn't that long.
It's like an hour and a half.
An hour and a half, yeah.
But it felt long. It felt like 2.5 hours.
Really? I felt like it wasn't long enough for it to
Right.
be a proper movie.
Right.
I think like with the credits are about, there was like a 5-6 minute credit scene.
Yeah.
But I think even with that, it would have been about like an hour 25, hour 30, which is technically a movie.
Yeah, like a 90-minute like movie. Yeah. So this is super interesting because it takes us a really long time to get to one of the characters that kind of made the original series, who is this detective who is kind of a weird kind of dude. He I mean, we're introduced to him. He's eating sweets. He obscures his face. He doesn't have a name really. And this is the character of L.
Cool.
Yeah. So wait, okay. I want to know your thoughts on this guy.
I liked him for probably about like 10 minutes, and then
Really?
he got really annoying, and I hated him.
Okay. What was the turning
hated.
point?
I'm thinking about it more. I genuinely hated him. He was
Really?
so stupid.
Okay.
Cause he's all like, cause they say to him, it's like his backstory seems interesting. I would like
Yeah.
a movie about that.
Yeah.
And I really like the actor. Like I said, I thought it was like this, I forget the name of the actor.
Yeah. I want to know.
I don't know if you can pronounce it.
Okay. Lakeith Stanfield. Is this the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in
Lakeith
like Short Term
Stanfield.
12. He was in
Yep.
Get Out, and he's a really good actor. Those are maybe 2 movies I've seen him in, and he's a really good actor. And I thought he did good well because I guess he's like somewhere on the spectrum. I guess, and he's supposed to be like this ultimate like detective guy, and he like eats candy, and I'm just like, this guy's quirky. I kind of like him.
Yeah.
And then he's like trying to figure out who Kira is, and he's like figures out something with Seattle. I don't really remember. And he's like working with Light's dad, and then he figures out it's Light. But like the thing with him is just the fact that like he's like, I got it, and I'm like, you have no fucking proof. He had no proof that it was Light.
Right.
How he was doing it. Anything. He just knew it, and he's like trying to figure it out, and like Light's like, oh, you clearly have no idea how I'm doing this. If it is me, how am I doing this? No idea. And he's so kind of like, no, I'm like saying it's you, we're gonna get you arrested. And I'm like, he's not gonna, like, if you tried this guy in a court of law with no evidence, there's no DNA anywhere on these like scenes, crime scenes.
Right.
He has nothing.
Okay.
And he still thinks he's so fucking smart. But he has nothing. I'm good.
Yeah, they took kind of like years and years of investigational like work that was in the anime and scrunched it down to like a couple weeks in the movie, which kind of was damaging. But like there was a lot of things that they did L wrong with, because he was kind of irritating. Like he was quirky, but he wasn't like
It was kind of,
good quirky, because in the anime it's done in a certain way, and he had a lot of the quirks properly, and they kind of tried to make it true to the character, but there was something missing. And then by the end they ruined kind of like, he kind of like flipped really quick.
Yeah.
And it was weird.
It's kind of like when they started writing out, they really wanted to stay true to like the idea of Elle as a character and like really kind of follow what he did. But then they decided to like just take him out of it. Like, oh, we don't have to follow the source material anymore. And they kind of did that in like, I don't know.
like I feel like the one smart thing that he did was like told Light's dad to like say something.
Yeah.
Because then he would assume like, oh, like, because like this was after all these like FBI agents died.
Right.
So it's saying like, oh, this Kira person's trying to like kill anybody who's in his way. So then, okay, let's put this guy in his way, because like at this point he's thinking that it's Light. They're saying, okay, let's put his dad in like harm's way, and basically we'll see if he dies. If he doesn't die, then it's Light. If he does die, then it's not. And obviously, Light's not going to kill his dad.
Yeah.
I mean, Mia might.
Yeah, well, that was a whole scene where, where we really see that kind of divide of, like, just wanting to kill everyone that gets in the way and just killing, like, criminals, because Mia is like, oh, like, they're challenging us, we have to kill this guy. And Light's like, this guy, it's my fucking dad.
I'm not killing my dad.
No, we're not going to do that.
I don't want to go in foster care.
Yeah, because really, he doesn't have any other family.
That we know of.
Well,
and even like Willem Dafoe team is kind of like, do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Rika's kind of an active kind of character who is more like, oh yeah, like I am, doing. He's like, he isn't like really sitting back and watching. He is, but he's not afraid to kind of step up and kind of, into the scene, which is different.
Yeah. And then stuff, I don't actually remember, like, the middle part. What happened after that? Wikipedia telling us the plot, because this movie, I don't remember it.
I know, right? I mean, it took us so long just to remember that Elle was a character.
Yeah.
Which is really saying
Well, there was something about, like, they wanted to kill Elle because, like, he was getting in his way.
Yeah, they do want to kill Elle because, I mean, Elle's kind of the mastermind behind this, but they don't know Elle's name.
There's, like, I don't remember this. There's a conversation between Elle and Light.
Yeah.
Because he says, like, I know you did it. And then Light's kind of like, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. And then he's like, okay, well, like, if I am, like, how is this person killing these people? And he's like, oh, I don't know. Like, maybe, like, something with, like, a psychic link or something. And I'm like,
yeah.
That's why I got mad. I'm like, do you think anybody's going to believe you?
Right.
That this kid is responsible for 400 mass murders.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Nobody's going to believe you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like this, like, and, like, how's he doing it? Psychic abilities? There's literally no way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and nobody's, even if you say, like, oh, he's got a book where he's writing people's names in it, even that's not gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you found the book and he had all these names in it saying like this person died this way, like why can you just say, oh, he wrote that down afterwards?
Right. Yeah. It's
a cure of fan book.
Theoretically, it's just an interesting concept. To begin with, because like you would think that the nature of the Death Note is that like you wouldn't even be able to figure out who it was anyway. So what's the point of trying to look for the killer? But I think. If you do this right, if you do this concept right, the whole idea of like finding out who Kira is should be so interesting that you don't even think about how it's a victimless crime, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a victimless crime, but how you can't really find a perpetrator. So, but this didn't do a good job of like getting that interest. Like there was nothing that really, because Elle wasn't as dynamic of a character here, you didn't really get this sense of like this cat and mouse game of two people like avoiding each other or trying to get down to each other. So, and because of that, you were just like, oh, then like, what's the point?
I think it would have been smart if maybe like Elle went to Light and be like, I know it's you. Mm-hmm. I don't know how, but I'm gonna find out, and like not actually telling anybody that he knows,
mm-hmm.
and then just like him trying to figure it out on his own, like how he's doing it, because like and then like saying this is how he's doing it. And then somehow finding evidence to how it works. Yeah,
Elle was a weirdly direct kind of character, and he was really direct about a lot of things. So kind of after that scene,
Thank you.
Light and Mia know that they have to take out Elle because he's he figured it out. I mean, there's no way he can prove that he figured it out, but he definitely figured it out. So they do this by going through Elle's kind of. We don't really learn their relationship here. Like he's like a mentor, but also kind of like a caretaker in a way, but also kind of just like this dude whose name is Watari. Damn it! I do this so much during this podcast.
Yeah, you do.
So they just write Watari's name down in the notebook, and they control him for 48 hours. So they kind of create this gambit of Watari is required to contact them and tell them everything, like tell them Elle's full name and what they can do. At the end, they can just rip out the page and burn it so that he doesn't die.
Yeah.
But the catch with that is that you can only burn one page.
Yeah.
Like, you're only allowed to do it once.
Yeah.
And so Watari replies, and he's like, I don't actually know his name because we got him from this, like, orphanage place that trains people to be the greatest detectives ever.
By the way, more interesting movie.
Yeah. And for some reason, this orphanage is located in Montauk.
Where is that?
New York. Meet me in Montauk. Anybody who's ever seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is going to know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen the movie in a while. Watch that instead of this.
Yeah, watch that instead of this.
Well, watch this podcast on YouTube, and then watch Eternal Sunshine. Just don't watch Death Note unless you're drunk.
Or watch the original Death Note. Anyway.
Do that.
so they like commands him to go to Montauk and like go through the files and try to find his name. And so,
how does he get to New York so fast?
Well, it has 2 days, so it probably took 1 day because I mean he only just got there and he was rifling through things before those 48 hours.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So, Alec kind of notices that Wateri's gone and kind of loses his shit.
But like, how does he know what happened?
He says like, Watari would never go anywhere without telling me, like blah blah blah, and like he just kind of assumes a lot. Like I mean, he's the world's greatest detective, so he can figure out that something is up.
Well, he kind of assumes that like has some kind of psychic power, so I guess he can kind of assume that like he's just controlling him.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, and so L goes, he like loses his shit.
Yeah,
gets a gun.
He gets a He gets a gun.
Like a sciencey gun.
And he says earlier
that he doesn't like guns.
He doesn't like guns because they distract him or something.
Well, at this point, he's distracted because his buddy's gone.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
This is especially where we're seeing that weird change of character through this, and it's weird to see a character who's very calculating. He's a detective. He thinks things very logically. Suddenly, like change and like I guess it's supposed to be shown as like this was his kind of weak point of like this is how you kind of break that facade of I guess of being a very like stoic character, and like that's how you get to him. But I mean, I guess I feel like for fans of the original, it's a little too not too emotional. But
is he not an emotional character?
He doesn't get that way until like the end of his like part of Death Note.
Yeah.
Which is like a big like you're like, oh shit, like shit's all fucked up now.
Yeah.
Because he like, but this is just like. And the way the movie ends, it's like he shouldn't even be like the way that he is.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird.
Not yet.
It doesn't quite fit, I feel, or at least I mean I'm not sure how it feels for. So yeah, what did you think of that, Dara?
I mean, I got like it. I don't know. Like I felt like there was supposed to be more of a relationship, and then like clearly he's not great with emotions. So I could see him just like going from like one extreme to the other. Mm-hmm. So that it didn't bother me that much because I get to see him because he says like guns bother me, but if you go to a certain extreme, you're gonna be okay. Mm-hmm. But then also forgot this bit where Light, Mia, and like his dad are like having dinner, and then Elle just like barges the fuck in.
Exactly. He like he like jumps on the table in like the L pose and like just starts like, going off.
His dad's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he goes off and says like he got a search warrant to search Light's house, and I'm like, do you think you're gonna find it?
And he's like young, and he's like, back it up.
Yeah.
And it was such a it was such a
but and Light's kind of freaking out because they're gonna find the Death Note, which again is not real proof.
Yeah.
Anyway, but then you see Mia go upstairs like, oh, she's gonna take it, and I was like, good for you, Mia. Like save the book. And then like there's that whole thing, and I'm just like, Elle, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And then more importantly, Homecoming!
Yeah, and so kind of the climax of our movie takes place during Homecoming.
Because it always does.
Because it always does. Also, I just saw Spider-Man Homecoming recently, so...
So what?
I'm all in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh.
I just saw that last week. So this is... what do I want to say here? Yeah, so this is where the climax of our movie takes place.
And I remember like you were getting upset because... Light was wearing a top hat.
Yeah, Mia gives Light a fucking top hat.
I like a good top hat.
But luckily it was dude, bro.
Well, Well, the first thing was clever because like she gives him the top hat and it says there's like another thing like I have the book. Yeah. Like we're fine.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, cool with it.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking also? Just like I think if these two actors had like better writing, I wouldn't mind a story about like their relationship.
Okay.
No, like I'm saying, like I said, I think these are good actors. I'm saying if they had better writing, and like maybe like the Death Note thing was involved, and like it was actually like I'm thinking like it's like a cheerleader, and like it's a loner guy, and then he gets the Death Note, and then like she comes over to thank him for like saving her butt from big bullies, and then he like shows her he shows her the Death Note book, and then she's kind of like not a psychopath, but is like a bit intrigued, and then they kind of like go on their path and like fall in love in the process.
I can't wait to talk about the differences.
I know. I don't think it's...
Wait, did I just tell you... Did I just say the whole anime?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Guys,
it's everything that's, like, good about the anime because it's not in it kind of a thing. But...
So, in conclusion, I am great at predicting animes. Just kidding.
So, Okay, can I talk about my top hat thing for a second?
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
If you know anybody who actually wore a top hat to a dance, they were a dude. Like, not even a dude, bro. They were just, like, kind of a neckbeard.
Yeah.
Well, they're like a
really?
kind of a brony friendzoni.
Brony friendzoni.
In my school, they were kind of like those, like the South Park, like, goth assholes and, like, dick bags. That's what they kind of were. Like, if you saw anyone top hat, you were just kind of like, you, like, hipster dick, goth, whatever, and you're just all like, if anybody can picture, like, the goth kids from South Park, that's what they are.
Okay. It felt very nice.
However, they use the top hat in a clever way.
Too much Hot Topic.
So much Hot Topic. They do use the top hat in a clever way, though.
No, they did with the inside everything.
If they left it there, but then he, like, had to wear it, and it was like...
Well, no, but then
it did come into play, but it's just like fashion choices.
It does work in the whole context of the thing, but I'm just really
also
mad
like
about
nitpicky things. Like, so we get to homecoming and like there's that part where they're taking pictures, which I thought was actually kind of cute. Just like this like awkward nerdy couple who like.
Say what I think. Okay, go.
But like there's one part where like they give the finger, and I'm like, you cannot do that at a high school dance.
I was like, did they let you just like straight up flip them off? And you're like,
I heard a story about a girl accidentally like did that like on camera and like. Not on, like, she was, like, news thing, and, like, she was, like, the camera wasn't on her, and she was, like, flipping the bird at somebody, and then it cut back to her while her finger was still up, and she got detention.
Yeah.
Like, people were saying, like, she got detention because, like, they had to.
Right.
Like, nobody's really mad at her.
Yeah.
But, like, still, like, you cannot flip the bird like that, and it's good that we have cameras now so that I can actually show you.
We have cameras now, so this is totally gonna be the thumbnail. I hope my parents don't see this.
They're gonna fucking see this.
Oh, it's true, guys. Mom, Dad, I'm really sorry, and I make good life decisions. I swear.
No, she doesn't.
I don't. I don't.
She agreed to do a podcast.
I do a podcast, and I think that's gonna get me 11 one day. I make great life decisions. Okay. We've been drinking.
No, we had one drink with dinner.
I'm a lightweight. Okay. So, anyway, homecoming.
You had a 5%, whatever.
Hi, Adriana. How are you today?
Yo, I'm doing all right.
Okay, you doing good?
Okay, homecoming.
So, homecoming. So, during this homecoming, Light gets a call from Matari, who is going through the files and says that he can't find the name, and he keeps going, and Light goes to open the note, and so he can burn the page, and
it's gone.
So he doesn't. Yeah, the page is gone, which means that Mia, bitch, took this page, and Watari time runs up. The 48 hours run up, and Watari is gunned down by some random.
Whatever the hell that was.
I think it was like because they're calling the New York FBI.
Yeah.
I think it's them.
Okay.
Or New York FBI in New York.
Mm-hmm. Just SWAT.
And so Light comes out and he is.
Well, he writes. Doesn't he like write something first?
I thought.
Or is that after?
I think that's after. So, Light goes and confronts me about the whole thing.
Yeah, I realized like she was doing. It wasn't Willem Dafoe demon who was like having some of these like demons, not
some
demons,
of the FBI
having the FBI kill himself. It was Mia because they were in their way.
Yeah, she was ready to kill some people. Like when Light didn't want to kill some people, Mia did, and originally we thought it was Ryuk who did it, which was a interesting choice, which is weird, but then everything makes sense when we find out Mia did it. And what Mia wants really is the book.
She wants the book.
And so in order to get the book,
we learn
that Mia writes Light's name down.
That thing, her heart will stop at midnight.
Mm-hmm. And so that's basically like her way of making sure that he gives her the book to own. And so Light takes the book and not from her, but he takes the book and we see him writing a lot of things down in it, and we don't know what that is yet. And then Elle finds out that Watari is dead and basically orders them to swoop in on Light to take him down as Kira. And then the whole chase scene ensues. Basically, and
it felt a bit long.
It was kind of a long chase scene. I agree.
It was.
It did go on for a while.
And I was like, I don't feel like it's looks good for Elle. Just like because as far as like everybody kind of knows and probably believes Light has nothing to do with it, and like he's just running away from a maniac trying to murder him because he's got a gun.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing though when they encounter like the dude and Elle's like, "Yo, stay back! Like, I'm gonna be okay." That's like a really cool addition that wasn't in the anime.
Yeah. So what happens? This is really cool. So this chase scene ends and Elle catches up with Light, and they're in the thing. Elle has his gun, and Light's trying to explain things, and it's not working. And this guy who's like randomly working at this place that they were just running through comes out, and Elle says, "Hey, stand back, this guy's Kira." And they're doing their whole scene, and then this random dude basically hits Elle in the back of the head and knocks him out. Because he is one of the supporters of Kira. And this is interesting. We didn't really touch upon this, but so in the process of like them trying to become gods, people start really worshiping Kira as a god. Like it really works. Because people like, they're killing all of the criminals. Like this is a good thing. So it creates this kind of, social divide of people who think that Kira is a criminal just because Kira is killing, or is Kira a good entity because they're killing all the bad people. So we kind of see that's a really interesting scene. I agree. Because it shows that, we really get to see a close up of just the random people who agree with what Kira is doing and will actually help Kira, and not the people who we would think are the good people or the people trying to stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was actually a really good addition. That was like, I think the one thing that was Adriana and I were like, oh,
I'm not angry about that.
Yeah, that was actually a good addition.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I'm just like, eh.
And so then it culminates to they go to
a Ferris wheel?
Fair? Yeah.
It's a fair.
And then they go on top of a Ferris wheel.
Is there there's not a Ferris wheel in Seattle, like a normal one that's always standing there?
I have no idea.
If they did, then
I've never been to Seattle.
If they did, I was there when I was like 13 for like a day.
Oh, really?
Well, I was on a cruise to Alaska, and like that was kind of like the pit, like where they were sailing off, so we just left a day early and went to Seattle.
Nice.
I was in Space Needle. That was fun.
Oh, nice. And so, Light meets up with Mia, and then they go to the Ferris wheel, and then
Light has the gun.
Light has the gun now, and he's like, he kind of shoots, so the Ferris wheel goes off on its own. And at the top of the thing, Light tries to convince Mia that, hey, we don't need this death note. Like, this has only bought us, bad stuff has only happened. Just leave it.
Also,
let it go.
But the death note is the only thing that got you laid.
It's true. Sometimes murder is the only thing that can get you.
But you should probably also realize this bitch is crazy.
This bitch crazy.
You can probably find somebody who's sane and doesn't want a death note.
Mm-hmm. Crazy likes crazy.
Yeah.
Light doesn't seem crazy. Light just seems like broody.
Yeah. Like, he's missing.
Because, like, his motivations, for the most part, are fine.
Yeah.
Like, I get his motivations, and he's just kind of broody because, like, man, my mom got killed in a hit and run. Actually, that would make anybody broody.
If you're only listening to this, Adriana's facial expressions are really funny right now.
Go to YouTube, then.
Go to YouTube. Subscribe, leave us a comment. Anyway, so Light tries to convince Mia, like, no, like, just give this whole thing up, and she's like, okay, yeah, she's like, yeah, I love you, great. But she ends up taking the note, and we find out that Mia's name is actually written in the notebook.
Well, he tells her, right?
Yeah, he tells her. She's like, wait, did you write my name down? He's like, yeah, you were only gonna die if you took the book. The book.
But yeah.
And then they all kind of freaking out, and then a freak accident happens. The Ferris wheel starts falling apart.
Freak accident,
as we find out later. And then the Ferris wheel starts falling apart, and a bunch of crazy stuff happens. And so they both end up falling out of the Ferris wheel. Light falls into the water. Mia falls into like a thing of flowers. By
the way, wouldn't fall from that height falling into the water? That would break your back.
Yeah, no, you would hit it like cement.
yeah. Like I feel like I've gone at points where I've like jumped off of like into like 12 feet water and not that high and like landed on my back. It hurts. Mm-hmm. So like that would break your back.
No, you would. Yeah, you would. No, that would probably kill you. But Light ends up surviving.
He's in a coma, though.
Weird. He's in a coma for some reason. And so a few days go by before he comes to, and somehow...
How many days exactly?
2.
It's 2 days.
2. That's weird. It's not like anything else here took 2 days. And so...
Like the writing of this movie.
But,
and so Light comes to, and then the death note is mysteriously delivered back to him. And we also saw, as he was falling out, the page with his name written on it mysteriously falls into a fire
and burns.
And it burns.
I called it.
It's really specific. You called it right before it happened.
The fact of the matter is, like, he's the main. I don't know if there's like any other main characters in the anime. Mm-hmm. But like if he's the main character and they want to do sequels, you can't kill him off.
Yeah.
You can kill off the girl.
Yeah.
Spoiler, she's dead.
Yeah, she did. But yeah, and so Light's father comes in and they're talking, and he's like, "Oh, so you are Kira?" They figured it out through some which way or whatever, doesn't matter. And she's like, "How'd you do it?" Because what happened during this time while he was out, people were still dying. People were still dying like Kira style, and so that erased suspicion from Light. Because how can he kill people if he's in a coma?
I hate his explanation.
Really?
Because they set it up like it's some ingenious thing, and it's not. You know, because
here's the thing: it's like it's kind of an ingenious thing, but like there's no way of like, the audience figuring it out.
Yeah. Well, it's not. It's because it's like all you do is write down these things are going to happen, and this is how I'm going to like save myself. Yeah. It's not like this is going to happen. I'm going to give the notebook to this person. I'm going to touch their hand with this little piece of paper. Like the show was set up so intricately. Like the writers of like the manga or the writer, I don't really know, but like it was so intelligent the way it was set up, and it went over a span of like months. And then this is just kind of like it's a teenage boy in America who has a notebook and knows how to write sequences of events down to save his ass.
Well, that's interesting because I thought that final explanation of like how he did it was the most Light thing in the entire movie.
It was the only interesting part regarding his intellect, but it wasn't at the level that it should have been. But in order to get there, it should have started earlier.
Right. Like that, like it wasn't
in the movie.
It wasn't worthy of the final move of Light, the anime character, but so it was more like the first.
Yeah, it was supposed to be the mic drop, but like it wasn't. It was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah. So we find out that how Light did it, and that's kind of where we end the movie, and then we end up on the famous Ryuk line, "Humans are so interesting."
That was pretty satisfying.
Well, also the point
that was really satisfying.
I mean, you brought up the point where like the dad finds out that like his son is like doing this. Yeah. I don't know why his dad wasn't like more mad.
Why did his dad find out? That was really weird to me.
They like explained like
that basically like he found like the newspaper thing with the guy who killed his mom.
Yeah,
and like that's how he did it, saying like, oh, like this person, like the guy with the hostage guy wasn't the first victim. This guy was.
Yeah,
technically wasn't true. The bully was.
Yeah, I think they said that.
But like how does that prove that your son did it? Because like this one guy died. That doesn't prove anything.
Oh well. Yeah. Yeah, kind of.
And it's like his dad's like.
I feel like he was pretty self-incriminating.
Like, his dad just like, it doesn't seem like his dad kind of. It seems like his dad didn't give a shit.
Yeah. No, his dad wasn't like my son's a murderer.
Like how'd you do it? Like not like hey kid, like you've been murdering people. Do you need help?
Hey champ, did you just murder 400 people?
Hey bucko.
Well,
just like he takes the chair, turns it around, like sits on it at the back.
He has like a baseball glove in his hand, and he's just like. Want to go play some? Dad, I'm in the hospital, but we can't do this right now. I have the book in my pocket. It's a lot going on right now.
Also, like the fact that like that the whole thing was written out makes sense. That probably his back wasn't broken. Yeah, that makes more sense.
How he wrote it. Yeah,
that makes. He didn't write that. He didn't write specifically my back won't break, but the fact that like he basically wrote that, like he's not going to die from this.
Yeah, he wrote that somebody will resuscitate him.
Well, I mean, movie people don't die when they fall into water.
It's true.
Nobody's
ever actually died in a movie when they fell in the water.
No. Always saves your ass. We should do that. We should kill somebody. Let's jump into water.
I'm not going to jail.
Don't worry, they'll be fictional people.
We'll film it, and then nobody will believe that it's true.
Yeah, so that was the movie, and that it was interesting, and and I think we can say a lot from this movie by just who we talk about when we're talking about this movie, about as far as characters who stood out to us. We really haven't talked about Elle a lot, and that's super interesting because I think you can't talk about the anime without talking about Elle.
Yeah.
I think Elle was kind of one of the more favorite characters.
Really?
People liked Elle way more than they liked Light. By the end of the
I didn't really like Light either, but I don't give a shit about Elle.
Yes, that's like why it was interesting.
Light was like one of like my favorite like anti like in like movies in general. I feel like he's like a really cool like character like for TV shows and like, anime and
so yeah, and which is interesting. I think we were really focusing on Light and Mia are kind of like these two really interesting characters.
They're not even that interesting though.
Yeah.
Like,
so
they're interesting in like how like not well written they are.
Yeah.
That's the case.
They're kind of, it's kind of confusing, really. Like, it's interesting decisions. So yeah, and I feel like we're kind of reaching that point where we can kind of talk about the anime a little bit more.
Have fun. the film media, so I'm gonna go get a drink.
All right.
Walk away. I don't know if I want to
Are you? Wait. What are you doing?
I was trying to make a film gag.
Okay. She's doing a gag. Come back, Dara.
You ruined the fucking gag.
I ruined the fucking gag.
We'll get better at gags.
We didn't script this thing before.
We didn't actually script this. When we get better at this, we will get better at gags. I just fit the joke here. I don't want to explain the joke. I was gonna say you guys are gonna talk about this for a while. I can like go up, get a drink, make some food, walk the dogs.
Rosebud was his sled. There, we've spoiled everything now.
Walk the dogs, paint a mural, walk the dogs again. Come back, you guys will be done.
All right.
I forgot about that movie. No.
Citizen Kane.
Right?
Yeah.
Citizen Kane?
I saw it many moons ago.
Oh my
God. Did I. I haven't seen it in like years.
We had to watch it for what was the last time you saw it? Intro to film?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good class, guys. No, it wasn't.
I saw Godfather and Pulp Fiction because of that movie, because of that class.
True.
And Thelma and Louise.
Good. Yeah, there's some good movies.
And that one Italian movie that made us cry.
Cinema Paradiso.
That was a good movie. Anyway, back guys talking.
I cried during that movie. Anyway, so this, if you want it, this movie's interesting, I think, because it's different than. All right, can I dare? So it's different because it's separated enough where it could be its own entity, but it's also still connected to the source material. So it was hard for me to look at this as not like an adaptation, but it was also hard for me to look at this as an adaptation. It was this weird kind of middle ground where I'm not sure if they just lifted the concept of a notebook that kills people and their whole own thing with it. Okay, but this still took characters and still took elements of things. Like there were some really tiny things that they took, like the ice cream scene, which is a really funny callback.
I feel like they were confused a little bit about what they wanted to do with the movie. Because there was just like a shit ton of things that were like, oh, that's kind of cool. I feel like they just like put things in sometimes.
Yeah.
So that they were like, hey guys, remember that like cheeky little ice cream cone thing? Or like, else it's weird, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
And
he likes candy.
He likes candy, like all those clear gummy bears. Interesting choice for filming. Yeah. But
you have a question?
I mean, I don't know if you guys are finished yet. I just have like a theory.
Yeah.
Are you guys finished? Because I think this is going to go to another discussion.
Okay.
So do you guys want to finish up and then we'll talk? And then
we still have a lot to talk about in the anime.
Yeah. Go on, finish. It's fine.
Okay.
I'm just gonna do some. I'm gonna do some film gags.
Okay, cool.
Gag it up.
Gag it up.
If anybody's not interested in their conversation, just look at me. Like I'm not pretty face.
So I feel like one of the quintessential differences in this movie was its main character. Light in the anime was a very different kind of character. Light was a very intelligent high school student. He kind of one of those like perfect grades, like he was popular enough. He wasn't a loner, and I think that's really interesting for a main character, because a lot of the time a main character is an outcast. He's an underdog that we want to root for. Light Yagami was a kind of this perfect kind of guy.
He was a sociopath.
Yeah.
Like, actually.
He was, exactly. Like,
he tricked people.
He didn't feel anything, but he seemed like this charismatic guy that people wanted to like. And that was really interesting as a main character. And so, also, something that was interesting to me is that in the original series, Light had, like, a full family. Like, he didn't have this broken family. Like, both of his parents were alive. He had a sibling, and everything was good. So, it was this character where he seemed like he had everything going for him. Where he didn't need revenge. He didn't have any reason to get revenge on people, which is a lot of motivation for where the character of Light Turner comes from. I mean, he's a guy who's kind of been screwed over his whole life. I mean, his mom died and the criminal got away with it. He's bullied, so he has reasons to want to get back at people. And so that's kind of a more typical setup, so they took a more traditional approach. But it was interesting when we had a character who had no reason to get back at other people, was suddenly given this power to do whatever he want with it, and he decided to take care of criminals, not because that he was always fighting upwards, but because he was like, that's where we really saw the God complex shine through. Because Light Turner talks about wanting to be, this, Kira is a god, but like Yagami wasn't like, Kira is a god, he's more like, I am the god. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, what are you, Adriana?
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot of what I was thinking. There's so, just with Light's character in general, that they changed, because Light is this, like, interesting character. There's girls just like that, like, flock this character in the anime, and he's very sociopathic, he's very charming, he's very manipulative, and especially with, like, Misa's character, her obsession with Light in the show is she is my least favorite character in the anime. She sucks ass. Yeah. And I kind of like the character that they had in the movie a little bit better if I detach it. But comparing the two and the way that the way they interact with Light, it's better in the anime. Because she's like, he meets her after high school too in the anime. And Misa is this, like, all these guys, like, are in love with her. She's a superstar.
She's an actress.
She's an actress.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's not, like, a cheerleader who apparently has no friends. She's, like, this woman who, like, has a lot of people, like, all over her. Right. And they kind of end up being this power couple, and she's obsessed with him, and she has powers of her own.
She admires Kira. Like, she doesn't know Light. She admires Kira. She's never actually met this guy Light before, but she sees Kira and she thinks that what he's doing is a great thing. So she is more. She's not a. She doesn't. I don't think she sees herself on the same level. She's more of like a worshiper. She's more like an acolyte than she is an orchestrator. Like, to start with, but then she gains a power. This is super interesting. So the character that Mia is based off of, Misa Amane, actually gets a death note of her own, which is really interesting, and then that kind of creates some interesting dynamics. And Misa is a lot of times willing to put herself on the line for Light because she's so in love with him.
It's an obsession.
She's obsessed with him.
And then there's the eyes.
She's not obsessed.
That, like,
it seems like she doesn't really care about killing criminals. When she kills criminals, it's only so she can assist him.
It's so that he loves her more. Yeah. It's this very, like, creepy, like, obsessive thing. Like, she doesn't care about herself, and then her Shinigami is so in love with Misa that it's this really interesting dynamic where, like, the Shinigami is like threatening Light, like, if anything happens to her, and then that makes Light think, like, oh shit, I can't, like, do this thing now because, like, it would fuck me up, because then it's gonna, like, fuck, like, her up. And then, like, Ryuk is just this cool ass dude who's just there, and in like the movie he's like a cool ass dude who's there but also, like, weirdly threatening, and, like, it's like he's supposed to have a part, but then, like, doesn't, and then he shows up sometimes, and then he doesn't. Yeah. And it's just kind of like this weird, like, teeter-totter that, like, the movie didn't really know, like, where it was going with it.
Yeah, because at some points it felt like in this movie, like, but they were like, maybe Ryuk isn't more of an antagonist, but maybe he's not. But maybe we want to make him into his own thing, but maybe we don't. And I think it's interesting because Ryuk in the original series, he just drops the death note into the human world just for shits and giggles. So it wasn't this cycle of like, somebody has it and then somebody else has it and then somebody else has it.
Like a genie thing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It was more of a, like, hey, I'm just sitting up here watching the human world, and why don't we just, like, fuck shit up?
Didn't he have two?
No.
Someone had two death notes. It was, like, theirs and then, like, someone who actually did die. So, like, it was like a double thing.
I forget. Well, there's two in the world at some point.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it's Misa's. I don't really remember. I have to watch it again.
We do have to watch it again.
It's been a while.
And so, so it was really interesting because Rick wasn't like, oh, now I just pass it along to the next human I want. He's like, he literally threw it in the middle of nowhere, and whoever picked it up. And who happened to pick it up wasn't somebody who was really destined to do it. It was just, like, this really smart guy. But it turned out this guy was a little too smart. And that's the thing. The intelligence factor really played into it. Yeah. Because the intelligence thing created these huge plot holes. Because, like, Agami was, like, super, like, he was way too smart for his own good, and, like, Turner is smart, but he's not smart enough to outsmart the greatest detective on earth, and so that's where we got a lot of these plot holes of why things were super easy to figure out, or, like, why this person wasn't figuring out. So we didn't get the cat and mouse game that really what kept the original series going.
Yeah, because Light and L were very much like the two sides of the same coin kind of a thing. They had to like balance each other. They were same intellect, just kind of like they were fighting for a different cause and a different side. And it was interesting because a lot of the times watching the anime, you were kind of like, I think Light's like, he's like, okay. And then like, he's like, gets really like fucked up and you're like, oh, I don't really understand. Like, I don't know how I feel towards him. And then like you meet L and he's like this really interesting character and like in this like interesting world. And even like the other detectives that are in the anime are really cool. Like Matsuda was not in the movie.
I forgot about Matsuda.
And where the fuck was my baby? Like, I don't understand. What'd you do with him? Where was he? Like, maybe I'm happy that he's not in the movie because they might have like messed up one of my favorite characters. It's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, well, that's just creating a lot of room for things to go on later. And they didn't bring out the concept of Shinigami eyes, which they didn't have enough time for anyway, so that was fine.
That probably would have fucked up the movie.
That would have muddled things a little too much. But yeah, gosh, what else? Oh, we were about to talk about something, and then I totally forgot what we were talking about. Let's see, we got.
There's
Ryuk.
A lot of things.
Let's see, Ryuk. Okay, we got Ryuk. Oh, you know what's weird? Watari like wasn't his real name. Like,
yeah, where was his mustache?
Okay, well, yeah, Watari won.
He had
like
a soul patch. Yeah, he had a soul patch. Light's dad also did not have mustache. I think they're against mustaches, and I'm not happy about it.
This movie is very anti-mustache.
Keep that in your thoughts before you watch this movie and give it your money and reviews.
But yeah, so oh gosh, what was I gonna say? But yeah, it was weird, like because in the original series, Watari wasn't his real name. That was also an alias, but they just kept the real name so they could do all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just the character of L, man, they just really.
It could have been good.
The actor was fine. Like honestly, the actor was fine. I wanted to like the actor.
He did his
best. But like the direction they took it was really like.
It was kind of strange because I always worry about like Death Note adaptations in general when it comes to L because it's a very anime character.
Yes.
Because like just his mannerisms and the way he acts, you're like, oh, he's so quirky, but like in an anime world.
Yeah.
You put that in the real world, this dude's like
translate.
He's awkward. Like if you're gonna do it in a real life setting, he can't be so like he can sit the same way or whatever, but there's something about it. I don't know exactly how I would change it personally.
Yeah.
But it definitely would have to be different. And I don't think it's the actor's fault. I just think it's the direction that they took the character in general.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was kind of a shame that I wanted to see, especially it was really interesting to see a character that was so likable and that people liked more than the antagonist a lot more. This wasn't even like a 50-50 split. This was a lot more people were rooting for Elle than they were Light from the original series. And so, yeah, it was just kind of, it was weird to see that kind of split. And then you kind of find yourself being like, I don't really care what happens with this guy, but what's going on with these other people. Yeah. Gosh, what else? I know I had something else to say. Just go watch the original Death Note, guys. It's actually a lot of fun to watch.
It's amazing.
When we push out of our minds that it was our embarrassing middle school kind of phase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
It was. Those were some tough times.
Cosplaying in the mall.
Cosplaying in the mall. Why do you have to tell everyone about that?
Because it's important. It was life-changing. Character building moment.
It was. You don't have true confidence until you can cosplay.
It's on YouTube if you want to try to find it.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, it is.
Yo, we have to find that after this.
Oh Holy my
shit.
god, it's
Kesha
so bad.
Cosplay that I think I told you about.
Yeah, I never saw that video. Do you know where that is?
I don't know where that is.
Oh, you have to show me that video.
Yeah, I went to Penn State for like a summer thing, like when I was 18, and I took a drama class, and there was a talent show, and we had to pretend we were like a musician. So I pretended to be Kesha, and like it was one of the weirdest experiences of my life because like I basically was just like, and this is like. Just like when Kesha came out, so like we all kind of thought she was like a party kind of slut.
Yeah, like in the days of TikTok.
Yeah, I said I did take it off. That song.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So and like my makeup was all weird, and I had this like dumbass blonde wig on with like a hanger in it, and like I had this like weird shirt, and then like I had these high heels, and I like slipped because I didn't know how to walk in them, and everybody thought I was like drunk, but then I was kind of just like, wah! And like this one guy smacked my ass. And then, like, literally the next day, like, every guy just, like, I literally got the award for, like, most likely to be remembered. Which is weird. Like, nobody would have remembered me except for the fact that I did that.
That's wonderful.
I literally have no idea where that video is. If I can find it, I will post it.
Oh my God. Okay. You have to find that video.
I'll find it.
We're going to have a lot of show and tell after we're done recording this.
Oh, God.
Also, I found out that the Breakfast Club, the girl is named Allison.
Allison, good. Okay. Good to know. But yeah. Any other notes that you had on that?
There's gotta be.
I know. There's so much.
I mean, I have a theory. A bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go on to...
Like, the way you guys were talking, it's not really like a theory, but, like... Excuse me. We were talking about, like... Because, like, I've been hearing this a lot, the difference of, like, whitewashing versus, like, Americanizing.
Okay, yeah. Let's definitely talk about this, because this is a really good
so,
thing
like,
to talk about.
For me, personally, like, if you... And it's, like, I heard this on Double Toasted, so I'm going to give them credit. It's kind of, like, the difference between whitewashing and Americanizing anything. Like, it's like... And it's kind of using, like, Japanese stuff, for example. It's the difference between, like... the Americanized version of the American version of The Ring, and then the American version of The Grudge.
Okay.
So The Ring is obviously based off of Japanese horror film, which I haven't actually seen, but I have seen The Ring, and I love The Ring.
Okay.
I'll force Cailin to watch it one day. Anyway,
It's not too bad.
it's really good.
Like, horror movies bore me a lot.
Oh, okay.
So I saw it when I was like in elementary school.
Yeah.
And then I'll need to see it again. Kind of a thing.
Anyway, but like, so like with that movie, obviously, so they based it off of a Japanese horror movie,
Right.
but it's set in America. All the characters are American.
Okay.
It's basically just like, you know, like white people, and I don't find that whitewashing because like you're clearly just like taking this concept and putting it in America. Meanwhile, there's The Grudge, which has some American actors, particularly Sarah Michelle Gellar and Bill Pullman, but it's in Japan, and there's also Japanese characters, so that kind of feels more like whitewashing.
Yeah.
And this kind of felt like they were trying to do more Americanizing of it. It felt, and like I think there might have been some like twists and stuff, but like, and like I kind of thought it's more of like then this is like so Americanized because the way you're describing Light, the way he was in the anime and the manga, it feels like a more interesting character, but not something a general audience is gonna want to watch and like relate to. Okay, because like and I'm saying general audience, I get it, like. I feel like a nerd audience and like somebody who's into like film critiquing would love it. That sounds interesting to me. Yeah. But a general audience isn't gonna want that because they're not gonna like empathize with him or like anything. They're just gonna find this asshole. Like, what's he doing? You're gonna like American audience is probably gonna relate more to a broody guy who's got a ton of shit going on.
I don't know, because like, have you ever seen the movie Seven?
I haven't actually. I know what you're talking about.
No, because it's kind of interesting because the way that movie's kind of set up is kind of the way that I think this movie should have been set up. Okay. Because the villain isn't like a brooding character; he's actually a sociopath, and kind of like the way that he does everything, the way his thought process is kind of interesting. And I feel like that's an American movie, and I feel like you could have done it the way that they did in Japan here, and it wouldn't. Because I don't necessarily think they're whitewashing it, but I also think it's kind of like expecting less of your audience intellectually by kind of dumbing it down to the way that they did it here. Because it's definitely more for like a teen audience, but also
I agree.
Teens are not stupid, you know. And I think film in America a lot of times is getting kind of I don't know. I don't know. But I feel like American film a lot of the time, especially with kids shows nowadays, they dumb it down a lot. And I don't know if it's laziness, and I'm not sure what they think their audience is, but I think that the film industry needs to step it up a little bit with writing in general. Just because this movie, I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's whitewashing a little bit, and I think it's
I would agree with that.
But I think they're trying to Americanize it, but also doing it not in the right way that they should be doing it. Yeah. I mean, it could have been worse. Like, Elle could have been white. I don't know. Like, it's kind of like, But, I don't know. I just feel like there needs to be a little more representation for our Asian actors.
I mean,
Asian Americans, like, it's fucked up. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I agree. I agree with you there because, I mean, when you say Americanizing people, it's like, oh, if you Americanize something, then you're going to have, like, a white main character. But why, though?
America's not predominant. Like, we're not just white. America is the, like, you should have a shit ton of people in your cast if you're going to Americanize something.
Yeah, so you can totally have a Yagami Raito, like, as your main character and have them be American, and that's not weird at all.
Yeah, and there's some amazing, like, American Asian actors and actresses.
Yeah, and, like, that's kind of thing of, like, I felt like it was kind of, like, in the middle-ish. And, like, when I say, like, The Ring and The Grudge, for example, like, those came out in, like, the early 2000s when I feel like that, like, people, like, were not, I'd say they were there, but they weren't, like, loud enough, and they are kind of getting louder now, so you probably would have been smarter to still set it in America and, like, probably have, like, maybe the main character could be Asian American, but then he could have had, like, this character be white and this character be black. It would have been fine. And then what you say with, like, the Seven thing, I see your point, but that's the villain. I'm saying, like, with the main character, it's kind of hard to see him as a sociopath. Like, a general one. I'm not saying, like, I would like that more, and I think it'd be a ton more interesting, but I think they're trying to go for a generalized, like your lowest common denominator.
Maybe that was a bad example, because, like, I guess he is the antagonist of that particular film, but, Light, because they tried to make him more human, I guess, and more relatable, but Light as an anime character is still, like, incredibly relatable. He's incredibly human. Like, his whole entire, he doesn't really start out as a sociopath necessarily. He's in the 1%. You don't see it. He's in the 1% in like Japan's educational system. He's highly intelligent. His whole family, it's an American family setup. There's the parents, and there's just like, hello honey, and then like they're all like joking around and stuff. It's interesting that they decided to go with a broken family when they brought it to America. I guess that's just because that works better in movies.
I think it's because like
it serves as motivation.
Yeah, which is interesting, because Light's initial motivation was to be like, it wasn't like a God thing necessarily. It was like, these people are bad, we need to eradicate them, because that's an intelligent person's mindset. It's like, these are bad people, get rid of them, better world. And then it just kind of like it took him in a sense. And that's a really interesting build up for a character, rather than like, because like Light in the movie went back and forth a lot. He was like, yeah, I'm going to be a god. And then he was like, shit, we can't kill these people. And then he was like, no, we have to kill these people. And I guess that was Mia, like, kind of pushing him around. But, like, if he were really intelligent, he wouldn't be pushed around like that.
I think that they should have took out the god complex for Light. And I think it would have made it slightly better. Mia could have kept the god complex, and they could have probably, honestly, like, if they would have paced this movie a bit better and maybe made it, like, 2 hours, and, like, build up the God complex for Mia, and then not for Light, like genuinely wanting to do the right thing, and Mia to kind of be like, no, fuck that. Interesting movie. Or, like you said earlier, make this a television series. Or a miniseries. Do that.
A miniseries would be great. They'd be able to get everything they need to. So I think, Dara, you just brought up a really interesting point that I didn't really think about.
How long is this going so far?
Long, but that's okay. We have a lot to talk about. So something that I find really interesting that you said is that when Adriana was comparing to Seven, you're like, oh, well, that's the antagonist. And so this is super interesting, because I think when you watch the anime, there's a point where you kind of lose Light as the protagonist, where you know he's the protagonist, but you stop thinking about him as the good guy. Like, there's rarely were you ever actually rooting for him. Like, if you're rooting for him to get away with what he's doing, ends up being kind of the minority of viewers' opinions. And so we're coming into this thinking that Light is still kind of not a bad guy, but not exactly the person we want to be rooting for. So we're already coming into this with this mindset. I think everyone who hasn't seen that series is coming into this with the mindset, oh, we want to be rooting for Light. And I think that's really interesting. I think that totally changes the view of how you interpret this movie. So that's a really interesting point as far as when you're coming from one series and you're coming to the other. So, but yeah. I feel like I was going to say something else, and I totally forgot.
Final thoughts?
We're talking about a lot of different stuff here.
Do you want to do like final thoughts?
Do you want to do final thoughts? Yeah.
This movie was dumb. Very dumb. I thought.
Could have been better. I'm not going to write it off as like the worst film ever.
No, not at all.
But it was pretty stupid, but it's fun. I have to watch it again later anyway, so.
Yeah.
I have to watch it with my dad.
I don't know, like, because I don't know, like, if a fan, like, I mean, you guys are a fan of this, and you don't seem, like, mad about it. I don't know if there'd be a fan of it who would get mad.
Oh, people, I can imagine there's fans who are probably really mad about this movie.
I read a whole entire post where they're just like nitpicking every little thing, and I'm like, you can't, because it's like, it's a movie. I think a lot of it is coming because we kind of went to school or going to school for kind of more of like a how to like do writing properly and how like adaptions are made, and it's tricky, and it's a little more, we can be a little more forgiving about that.
I think we're kind of that post like criticizing adaptations kind of mindset, where we understand like adaptations aren't going to be truthful, and like I guess coming into it already knowing that this wasn't going to be like good. We don't have to really sit here and nitpick things. But yeah, it's interesting because
I mean, I would say like from your guys' perspective, it feels like a disappointment. Would you say that?
I wasn't really disappointed because I wasn't really expecting much.
I guess like the fact that you
expectations were already really low.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if you guys like came into this like cold turkey. Is that the term? Like, or came into a cold? It seems like you guys would be disappointed.
I was kind of pleasantly surprised sometimes.
Okay, then I'm just wrong altogether.
No. If we were watching this, I think as our like 2008 selves, we would be very disappointed and angry with this movie.
Yeah, we would have a lot of negative things to say.
If we were still in that, if we were younger, a lot younger.
Also, you would have had less alcohol.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't have been drinking. But no, if we came into this a lot younger, I think we would have been mad because we would have expected things to be exactly the way they were in the source material.
Yeah.
And knowing that, I guess a really long series of being let down by other films.
The Last Airbender.
Don't do this to me.
Wait, that's a movie that exists?
We're not watching.
Guys, remember, 10,000 subscribers. We're watching the movie. No, come on, that's a reward. You will watch us suffer 10,000 subscribers. Mm-hmm. We can do it, guys. Mm-hmm. Make it happen.
Yeah. So
I've actually never seen that movie, so you know.
Yeah, I think if you are I think if you are still a diehard fan of the original series, you're gonna hate this movie. If you are kind of like us, and this movie was, you watched this kind of during its original run, between like I think the manga started in like 2005 or something. Yeah. So this is, way over a decade old. And then had a lot of time off for it and coming back to it. It was weirdly, there were some parts that were kind of fun to me because I was like remembering these characters who I haven't seen in so long, and so like getting to see some of the little things like. Most notable was the ending line to this movie. It was like humans are so interesting, and the Willem Dafoe's delivery of that line was fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's like that little thing. We're like, oh yeah, that's kind of fun. Mm-hmm. But it's not a good adaptation. It's not a faithful adaptation. It messes a lot of things up. But it wasn't separated because the parts that tried to do an adaptation created the plot holes. But where they decided to stick with it and where they decided to separate created these huge kind of plot holes in the middle, like this giant kind of fault line of where things were getting all kinds of mishmashed. So it was strange in that regard. So I don't think this is a good movie. There's certain parts where I actually had like kind of fun watching it. But I don't think I would watch it again though.
I would say for somebody who's like never really heard of this and didn't grow up with it at all. Mm-hmm. If you can like get past like the dumb stuff that like I pointed out with like the logic and like the justice system and like the finding evidence and finding proof that this person did it, if you can kind of get past that, like on like a rainy day, grab some popcorn, grab a beer.
No,
it's fine.
Friends. Don't watch it on your own. You had to watch it with other people. I think.
I probably.
It's a lot more fun to watch with other people.
Yeah, like I would never. Actually, I wouldn't watch this on my own anyway. Like I don't really care.
Yeah.
But yeah, like grab some friends, like nice rainy day, watch it. You'll have I think there's definitely like better movies to watch in that kind of situation. Yeah. But this one's not terrible to watch.
Yeah, I think if you're a fan of the original, and you can kind of create that mental separation, I would check it out just to. Out of curiosity.
Shits and giggles.
Yeah, don't pay money for it.
No,
don't. For the love of God, don't pay money for it. And don't waste good time on it.
Well, basically, if you have a Netflix subscription already, maybe check it out. Don't, buy a subscription for this. Or, steal somebody's password for... you can do that. It's fine. Because that's, probably the best thing that it could... I feel like this would have bombed in the theaters if it went to...
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, yeah, it would...
It would have bombed in the theaters. But so the fact that it's on Netflix, it's eh.
And if you've seen this movie but never seen any of the original series, and if you see this movie and you think the concept is kind of interesting but they didn't do a lot of things right, go check out the original series. Either read it or watch the anime because it's.
But that means I gotta watch an anime.
Oh no, gotta watch those.
No, he said it was a
Japanese
live action
cartoons.
series, right?
No.
There was a live action movie.
I don't recommend.
There was a live action series.
What?
Do you remember it? Yeah, that came out like recently, but it was really bad.
Oh.
Because they changed a lot of stuff. Oh, we don't have enough time to like go into that.
We might do a first reaction fan reaction to the Death Note series eventually.
Yeah, but the
I don't know how long it lasted, but
I don't think we could do that. One has like 50 or 60 episodes.
We could do it.
The original series.
The original, like,
the original anime. But the live action series, I don't.
No, we don't have to do that. That's what I'm saying.
But don't watch the original, like the Japanese live action movies, because those aren't really good either. Because they also had to like.
Ryuk wasn't done very well either. He looked really up.
So what you're saying is we should do like the Japanese version, but it's had Willem Dafoe.
Yeah. Well, the original, the English dub of Ryuk was actually pretty good. Because Willem Dafoe sounded a lot like the English dub of Ryuk.
Yeah.
What if it was Willem Dafoe? I don't know if it was.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
but yeah. So general consensus: a good movie, but not the worst movie.
All right. Do you want to do the thing?
Yep. All right. So that's about all the time we have for this special edition of First Reaction.
This probably, I don't know how long this is. It's probably very long.
It's very long. This is almost double length of our usual episode.
Is it like almost 2 hours?
We're probably going to end at like an hour 40.
That's not bad. Okay.
I know, it's not the worst. I would like to thank Adriana for being our guest today and coming on to talk about
You're welcome.
that show that we used to watch.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And your makeshift microphone stand.
I love this microphone stand.
Ta-da.
I'm gonna Instagram that shit.
You can.
Definitely gonna.
Sexy microphone.
So, if you are so inclined, you can like this video, you can comment, subscribe, I guess, if you like to do that sort of thing. You can always follow us on Twitter at Witty Close. Follow us on Facebook at Witty Close Productions. You can always email us too, Gmail. We're wittyclose@gmail.com. And if you like that Patreon thing, you can always jump on over there. We are Witty Close Productions. And if you are listening to this on iTunes or some other audio media, you can always check us out on YouTube. We are Witty Close Productions. So.
Also, if you're watching this on YouTube for the first time, let us know what you think of this filming idea.
Yeah.
We know you guys like to see our faces and like our actual like expressions instead of like just listening on YouTube,
and
which I get sometimes because like obviously you listen to audio like when you're in the car and driving along, and it's hard to do that with YouTube.
Yeah, don't watch videos in your car, please.
I mean, I do that sometimes, but
don't watch videos in your car.
I don't watch the video. It's just like a song, and I'll just like play it.
Oh yeah.
Or if it's like a podcast, I'll just like listen to it.
Yeah, I listen to podcasts.
Sometimes I do that. But like we get that like on YouTube, you like a film, like a actual like watching us format thing. So if you like this format, let us know. If you want anything different, like let us know. We'll see what we can do. This might be we're not exactly sure how to do this quite yet. So trial run. So if it's not great, we like obviously it's fine. Like we will grow. Like every thing does eventually. Did I do the heart right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Josh, what was I going to say?
I think that's it.
Yeah, we will. I mean, we're not doing a comment corner to this episode because one, this is too long, and two, we'll just do that in one of our kind of, I guess, main series. Videos. So that is all for today. Join us next time as we're going to talk about maybe one of those shows that we like. So I'm your host, Cailin Clothier, and with me is my co-host,
Dara Whitman,
and our very special guest, Adriana.
Hello.
All right.
Well, bye.
Bye. Shit.
Peace.
Peace. Bye.